Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to show you a sign that lasts almost a year long in the main part of it and over a year long altogether. And within this sign there's a bunch of other signs going on. I hope you enjoy it. This sign that I'm going to show you isn't just one little sign. It's a bunch of signs all in a row, and it all happens within the constellation of Libra. And it starts out with the moon eclipsing its lead star. This sign starts on September 9th of this year. Less than 1 month later, we see the three main players that we're going to watch in this sign, and they line up in a nice little row to let you know that here we are, look at us. Now I've moved it ahead 1 hour, and I want you to notice the configuration here and the configuration here. The middle one is out just a little bit further, and it's closer to the top one than it is to the bottom one. It's a mirror image of this. The name of the lead star in Libra is this, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but it means the purchase, or the price is deficient. Also notice that Venus, the bright morning star, is here at the start to give his approval. The next thing we want to watch in this sign is Mercury. Mercury is going to go into retrograde motion, and he's going to do so just after crossing into Libra. And as he's still in retrograde motion, we get an eclipse. 6 hours later, the moon eclipses the lead star of Libra again. Less than 1 month later, we get a conjunction of Saturn and Mercury as Ison is going through Libra. 2 days later, the moon eclipses Mercury. This is a complete eclipse of Mercury, and what this is showing us is that we don't see Mercury anymore in this sign. This is the end of Mercury. The next part of this sign that I'm going to show you is the main part of the sign. What we're going to see is Saturn is going to go into retrograde motion within Libra, and it takes about 11 months to do so. So that's what Saturn looks like as it goes into retrograde motion within Libra. But during that time, during that 11 months, there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened that we need to go look at. So we're back at December 28th, 2013, and the moon comes by and eclipses the lead star again. Saturn is on its way through Libra for the first time, and this will be the last time we see the moon eclipse the lead star. On May 14th, 2014, as Saturn is in retrograde motion, he's moving backwards right now, we get a conjunction of a full moon right underneath it. During the 11 months that Saturn is in retrograde motion, the moon is coming by here every month. But this is the only time we get a full moon, and it's on May 14th. What we're seeing here is the first part of this sign that I found. And I found it because I came back looking for something happening on May 14th, 2014. Some of you might remember back in my Tribulation Start Date video that I gave an approximate date of a possible start to the tribulation period. That was May 14th, 2014. When I originally made that video, I used Revelation chapter 12, the book of Daniel, and Joel 2:31 and Acts 2:20, where it says the sun will be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the terrible day of the Lord. At that time, because I was using Revelation chapter 12, sign in the heavens, and Joel 2:31 and Acts 2:20, where we have a blood moon and a solar eclipse, I wasn't thinking about looking for a sign in the heavens on this day. So let me remind you that May 14th of 2014 is second Passover. And if this is a possible date for the Antichrist to confirm the covenant, there should be something in the heavens that we could see as to marking that occasion. So in this sign, we have Saturn, which represents Satan. He is in retrograde motion. He is in a conjunction above the only full moon during this whole year-long sign, and it's right in the center of the constellation of Libra, which is the scales, which would be Antichrist, saying that he holds the scales for Israel. On August 4th of 2014, we get a very close conjunction between Saturn and the moon. On August 31st of 2014, Saturn is completely eclipsed by the moon, and during this time, Mars is in Libra. So what do you think this eclipse of Saturn means? When Mercury got eclipsed, we don't see Mercury back in this sign anymore, but Saturn still has some more to play. Across many cultures, Mars is known as war. Now I'm going to go into some speculation here. I think this could possibly be the end of the Ezekiel 38 and 39 war. I have thought for some time now that the Ezekiel war has to happen at the beginning of the tribulation period. There are two reasons why I think the Ezekiel war is at the start of the tribulation period. The first one is because God is actively courting the Jews at this time. He supernaturally comes in and wins that war. The second reason is because of the 7 years that Israel is burning the weapons. If the Ezekiel war is before the tribulation period, then Israel won't be able to have anything to burn at the end of the tribulation period. If it starts in the tribulation period and right at the start, then Israel can get all the way into 7 years of burning it and still be able to make it to the end. So Satan gets pushed out and blocked while God comes in and wins that war. And again, this is just speculation on my part. On September 27, 2014, we get a conjunction of the moon above Saturn. 1 month later, we see that same thing happen again. On November 4th, 2014, Saturn is finally going to be leaving Libra, and Venus, the bright morning star, just comes in. At the very end of this sign, we see that Saturn is finally out of Libra and on his way, and the moon comes by and eclipses the very last star in Libra, as if to say this sign is finished. But that's not all. He does it again a couple months later, and again, and again, and again, and again. And you'll notice that Saturn has gone into retrograde motion again to come back up here by him to let you know that this sign is done. And then 4 years later, the moon eclipses it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. The moon eclipses this little star 11 times within those few years. Now, wouldn't it have been cool if it had done it 12 times? Well, Venus does it once. Now, Venus does not completely cover it, but that makes sense to me. Venus is so bright it will appear as though it has eclipsed it, but it doesn't really touch it. So what's my conclusion to this? This sign starts this year, the day after Feast of Trumpets, on September 9th. I plan on doing another video in the very near future of why that little eclipse of that star is the start of this sign. What has me bothered the most is the May 14th sign from next year. I wasn't expecting to find that, really, when I went back to look for it. That second Passover, it wasn't that hard to get to that date, but to find that sign on that date, I don't know, man. I mean, what do you guys think? If it isn't marking the confirming of the covenant, then what is it? And if it is, that kind of makes sense that this sign comes all the way back into this year, because the Antichrist is going to need some time to get into power to be able to confirm that covenant. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you haven't noticed, this is an actual photograph. It's not a painting. And if you haven't asked Jesus into your heart yet, there's not much time. You need to do that soon. I've got a few more videos that I'm working on, including one that is going to blow your mind. Stay tuned.